All right, everybody, welcome to the Outliers. This is episode 6. I'm sitting down with Izzy Escobar. This is a close friend that I've had for a very long time. We've been kind of talking on and off. We actually haven't met in person. This is our very first time meeting in person. And we've been sitting in semi-awkward silence, trying not to talk too much because I wanted to spill everything on this podcast for you guys. So we must appreciate it if you guys leave a like and comment for that. But yeah, super excited. Izzy Escobar in the building. Let's
Hello.
go.
Thank you for having me.
No worries, no worries. All right. So the reason why I'm doing this podcast is because I find you super, super interesting. We met through a mutual friend at UCLA. And when I first was introduced to you, I was like, all right, who's this person? She's going to be famous one day. I need to talk to her right now. But other than that, I want to get into kind of what you do, who you are, and get like a deeper level on like everything that you do. I know that you do music. You're also into what else? Modeling, acting. Is that right?
Yes.
Nice. Okay. Let's get into that a little bit. So you started off with music, right? Obviously. How did that come about? Or were you born with it? Is it something you kind of grew up with, or is it something you kind of got into when you later on in life?
So when I was 4, my parents put me in violin lessons.
4 years old.
4, yeah. So I started playing violin when I was 4 through a method called the Suzuki method, which is like a fundamental way of learning violin. And I honestly didn't like practicing. Like my parents can tell you.
I mean, what 4-year-old would like to practice?
Like I would hide before my practices under the dining room table, and they would have to like run around and chase me, type of thing.
Yeah.
But my mom always had this coined phrase, and she said, "Bella, one day you're gonna thank me for this. You just got to keep up with it."
Yeah.
And so I kept up with it, and the violin taught me a lot about work ethic and pitch and music theory. And I think that was the core foundation of what gave me, the tools to pick up other instruments and learn how to sing.
Nice. And so stemming from violin, you did that for an extended period of time, I'm guessing. And
Yes,
you still do
I still
it.
play.
Yeah, you still do
I
it.
actually, that's one of my jobs. I teach violin lessons to kids.
Nice.
So it's
Where do
kind
you
of
do
full
that
circle. I do that at an Academy of Music here in LA.
Okay, nice. That's awesome. So what else do you play besides that violin?
So after violin, I, learned the basics of music, of how to read music and composition, and I taught myself piano. And then from there, I was able to pick up a little bit of guitar.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And so at what point did you kind of say, hey, I want to start making my own music? Like, I want to put songs out. I want to be an artist.
Honestly, it's something that I've always known.
Mm-hmm.
And all I've known since I was a kid was that I loved the way that music made me feel, in the sense that it allowed me to have a voice. I was able to express myself in ways that like my speaking voice didn't allow me to. And I realized that it helped me connect with others as well. So my whole life I've known that I wanted to release music. Mm-hmm. And that's still a project that I'm in the works with. So I can't wait to release all the rest of my music. But I've always known that that is what I've wanted to do, 100%.
So, yeah, you said speaking, like, it's a way to express yourself. Let's, like, dive a little bit deeper on that. What does that mean? So, like, yes, you're talking to me right now, and I feel like in your music you can express yourself in a different way. Mm-hmm. How do you express yourself that way? Like, what does that mean?
Good question. I think there's something so beautiful about putting different components of instruments together to create a vibe or a certain feeling. And music creates a feeling in ways that I feel like words cannot, just words let alone. And I think ultimately I recognized this when I was learning how to play violin and listening to major works and symphonies, and there was no words. It was just instruments. And that was able to evoke a feeling within me. And then I suddenly realized, well, what if we, put words on top of that? So it's able to create a unexplainable feeling.
That's awesome. And you have an incredible voice. Did
Thank
you
you.
start, like, when did you start singing?
Good question. I think I've always been singing, honestly.
Always?
But there's a funny story that's, so like I would not sing for my parents. They've heard me play the violin, but I would not sing for them.
Never.
Never.
Okay.
So in 4th grade, I was in Beauty and the Beast, and I got the role of Belle. And my parents would be like, "Okay, Bella, you need to practice. Practice for us." Because I had this one song that I had to sing. It was a solo.
Okay.
And I was like, "No, I'm not going to sing for you guys. You have to wait for the actual show."
Okay.
And they were like, "Bella, you have to practice for us." And I refused. And I was like, "No, you're not going to hear me until I go on the stage." Honestly, I didn't even know if I sounded good. I was just, I didn't want to sing.
Well, how old were you?
I must have been like 8 at the
8?
time.
Okay.
8.
And you started really young.
Yeah, well, I've always loved music. But anyways, then I get on the stage and I had to sing this song. And my dad and my mom are in the audience. They have no idea what's about to come out of my mouth. And then all of a sudden I started singing. And I just remember like looking into the audience and seeing my parents' face like a bit floored.
Like, they're just like, I can't believe it.
They were like, "Oh, she can kind of sing."
Yeah.
And then from there on, they really supported me and got me the tools that I needed to continue.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Have your parents always been, what's your parents' backgrounds? Are they both musicians? What do they do?
So, no, none of my parents are musicians per se. They're both artistic. They both are really great painters. And something cool is that my mom is Italian. And I feel like, Italian culture is super artistic and loud and beautiful. And my dad is from Cuba. And he immigrated here when he was 6 years old with my aunt, my uncle, my grandparents. And Cuba is such a big part of my artistic self. And so in that sense, we're very musical, the Cuban side of my family.
Yeah.
Every Christmas Eve, we have a huge gathering where, my uncle brings the bongos and we have all the shakers and we just sit around and we sing and we dance and we laugh. And it's, that culture is super musical and beautiful.
Nice. And so I'm guessing that it was probably your dad's side or your dad that probably was pushing you more into music, right?
Yeah, well, my mom really pushed me with the classical essence of violin and really helped me with my work ethic to continue to practice. At one point she even picked up the violin and we were learning together. And then my dad helped me vocally a lot. And my dad actually, so when he immigrated here from Cuba, he needed a job and he taught himself how to DJ.
Really?
Yes.
Like on the turntables?
Oh,
Old school?
Old school.
Wow.
With the records and
Impressive.
everything. Yes. So there's videos of me growing up, and he would just dance with me to Gloria Estefan and a lot of Cuban music and salsa music. And, I grew up with him DJing, and he was playing all types of music in the house. And subconsciously, I think that bled into my mind a bit.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, so dad's a DJ.
He's accountant by day, DJ by night, we like to call him.
Okay, nice. You available for any bookings soon or what?
You'll have to ask him.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you, and you've said you've been doing this since you're 4 years old, which is a very long time. And it kind of brings me to the question of, was there any doubts? Is there any was like, hey, maybe I should stop doing this? Or was there any times where I want to do something else? Or was it always just this is what I know what I want to do. This is what I'm feeling. And this is what's going to happen.
It was always, this is what I want to do. There's peaks and valleys, though, with every career that you choose. And it gets really hard, I'm sure, as you know, with your career and whatever career path you choose. There's times when it's so difficult. How do you keep going on? You can get really down about working so hard and then maybe not seeing the result that you want. And I wouldn't say that there's ever doubt, because I know 100% that music is my passion and writing music for others is my passion. But yeah, there's moments of frustration and peaks and valleys.
Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Peaks and valleys.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you were at UCLA, you made a music video. I forget what the name was. Sorry. What was it called?
I made a music video. I released Warrior while I was in college.
Warrior.
And then No
Yeah.
Boys. Yeah.
So I saw Warrior. And I was like, damn, this is crazy. She's going to blow up. Since then, because that I would say it did fairly well. It popped off pretty well. Did you expect it to go like that? Or was it more of like, oh shit, this is kind of blowing up?
Yeah, I didn't have any expectations, especially because I was like, I released my first song when I was 17, 18,
Yeah.
which is Broken Wings, which is like one of my favorite songs that I've ever written. It has a really special place in my heart. And Warrior, I was like 19. And yeah, I wasn't as knowledgeable on the streaming platforms and marketing and
Yeah, who was with you? Was it just yourself releasing it, or was it?
yeah,
like,
it was just myself during Warrior. I
Wow.
was just
It was really well produced.
yeah, it was really well produced. The producer was amazing. It was a great video, and all the girls were so awesome. And it's cool because I have that video now to look back on and
Yeah.
like just
Yeah.
have it. It was a part of my life that was really really cool.
Yeah, because I was gonna say it looked like you had a whole team and like people managing this and that. It was like this is going somewhere. No, that's good. And then since then, have you released more like music videos like that, or was it kind of that was it for then, and you're trying to move forward with like more music and then videos later?
Yeah, so the past year and a half, I have like dedicated my whole life to producing a whole new set of music and videos. And there was a point I was working like almost a year ago. I was working like 3 jobs. I was
Shit.
funding all the videos by myself.
What were you doing? What was 3 jobs?
I had like a marketing job. I had a music entertainment job. And then I was teaching music lessons.
All while in school?
All while in UCLA.
Wow.
And it was just like this switch that turned in me that's like, you know what? If I'm going to put out music, it has to be authentically me and it has to be right.
Yeah.
And I have just been grinding so hard for the past year. Like I think I'm in the studio almost every night, except for like one night a week.
Holy
I've like
shit.
slept on the studio floor several days of the week at this point.
That's dedication.
And it's got to happen, you know, because no
Yeah.
one else is gonna do it. Like you come to this realization that you just got to go with it.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing this whole time. And I'm so excited. It's almost there where
Yeah.
I can like start releasing, but there's probably like 60 songs.
Holy 60
Maybe
songs.
more. Yes.
And so what are you waiting for now? Like what is the
Well, you come up with all these songs, right? And then you have to sift through all them and decide how you want to release them. Do you want to release them as singles? Do you want to do singles and then collectively choose which songs aesthetically work together? And then choose which ones to release later on. And then also, what's the best way to go about it? Do you release independently or do you decide to work with someone else and release those songs? So it's just choosing the best path to go down. And I'm honestly not completely sure what that is yet. So I'll have to get back to you.
For sure. And we'll be definitely on the lookout for it.
Yeah.
Are you because I know a lot of people in the music industry, this is a pretty hot topic that people have listened or talked to just here and there in LA. What are the pros and cons of being independent versus being signed?
For me personally, I think it's just artistic independence and freedom and making sure that my voice is my voice.
So then, would you say that signing with a label would be a negative because they would take away from your creativity? Or is it more of like, because I know people will use that to like make their music blow up in streams, but I feel like you have a plan and you're kind of devoted to this that you're going to make it anyways. So I guess going independent would make sense for you.
Honestly, it could go either way. I think it just has to be the right people behind you and make sure you have the right positive team supporting you and loving you through all of it. So whatever that might be, I'm excited for.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I want to go back into a little bit more of your kind of childhood, a little bit. Backtrack. So, do you have any siblings? One.
I do.
You do? How many?
Shout out Will.
Shout out Will. Shout out Will.
Yeah, and my 3 stepbrothers. Hello.
3 stepbrothers.
I have William.
Uh-huh.
Will. He's my like everything. Love him.
Yeah.
We're 10 years apart.
10 years.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Mom's side, dad's side.
Mom.
Okay.
And then I have 3 older stepbrothers on my dad's side.
Okay. Wow. So you're the youngest of everybody.
Well, I'm older than my brother, but I'm the
sorry.
youngest
Yeah.
of the 3 stepbrothers.
Got you. Okay. Nice. And how, okay, so this is a question I tell everybody because for me personally, my relationship with my sibling was like so distant growing up that I never really understood the sibling relationships. But the more and more I've grown up, I realized that they're like the closest thing you have to like a best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And they're the only ones that kind of like would understand where you actually came from because they lived where you lived. And
Literally.
yeah. So like how did your relationship with your siblings like affect you growing up?
Yeah, I always wanted to be like a big sister, and I was an only child for a bit.
Yeah.
Because it was my dad and my mom. But
Yeah.
then Will was born, and it was amazing because I just had a friend with me all the time.
Yeah.
And like he was always 10 years younger than me, and I remember getting annoyed because he would want to go and like play trains, and I wasn't into that at that point because when you're younger, it's like there's more of a divide between the things that you like to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like we would go to Six Flags, and he would drag us to Train World, and I would not want to do that.
Yeah.
But now that we're a bit older,
Yeah.
we text all the time. We FaceTime all the time. I'm from Massachusetts, so they're far away.
Okay.
But, Will and I talk all the time. He came out here for graduation, actually, of UCLA, which was really cool. And,
Nice.
And, yeah, he's one of my best friends.
That's awesome. That's awesome. How old is he?
He's 13 now.
13 and you're 23.
22. There's
22.
like a bit of a cutoff.
Got you. That's interesting. So Massachusetts.
Yeah.
I completely skipped over that. How was Massachusetts growing up? Because that's way different from LA.
Yeah, just a bit.
Just a bit.
Yeah.
Where in Massachusetts first?
Okay, so this is like the thing. Whenever I'm in LA, everyone says, "Where are you from?" And I just have to say Boston. Because that's like the only place in Massachusetts people know. Go Red Sox.
Yeah.
And Dunkin' Donuts.
And Dunkin' Donuts.
But I'm from a really, really, really small town called Long Meadow.
Long Meadow.
There's literally like a long meadow in the middle of the town.
And so that's why I just call Long Meadow.
Yes, like it's colonial. Like there's stars on the houses.
Uh-huh.
On the houses that are dated back to a certain time period that you can't move because they're so historic.
Interesting. It's
a beautiful town. And same thing. As I got older, I really appreciated where I grew up because it was like a bubble that fostered me and allowed me to grow safely and comfortably. And I mean, the town is so small. Like you have your like local grocery store. Everyone kind of knows each other, and there's sidewalks on every street. And the school system is great. The music programs are amazing. And I played lacrosse, and
lacrosse.
Yeah, and I.
Oh yeah.
It was such a great place to grow up.
Nice.
But it also made me wanna, when the time was ready to come for me to go to college, I wanted to, spread my wings a bit and go to a city. And I'm not sure if I would have done that if I had like already been. It pushed me out of my comfort zone.
Got you.
Yeah.
So you kind of like were in your environment, you grew, and you wanted to grow out of it in a way.
Yeah, I was ready by that time when I was ready to graduate high school. I was like, I know this is the right decision. It's been my dream, and this is the time now. It was difficult to leave home at first because I'm really close with my family.
Yeah.
But we have FaceTime nowadays and whatnot, and
yeah, it makes it easier.
Yeah.
What how like big was your high school? Was it like pretty big? Was it? You said it was small. Like, what's your graduating class?
Small. Oh, I don't even know, but it was only like a few hundred.
Oh, similar to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, that's. So why UCLA?
Why UCLA?
And then also, how UCLA? How were you in high school? Were you one of those super high GPA, or was it more of a talent thing?
I did have really good grades.
Okay.
Like I really, I studied hard. because I knew like I was on a mission. Like I was like when I was in high school, like I gotta get a good education after I graduate high school and whatnot, and be the most successful version of myself. UCLA, for the program that I was in the musical theater program in theater, film, and television school. The cool thing about that program was it allowed you to also study academically instead of just focusing in on the arts. And as much as I love music and film and whatnot, I also love to learn just all different types of subjects. And the program that I was in also would allow me to minor in something. So I was able to take linguistics classes and philosophy classes, neuroscience classes. I just wanted to learn everything.
Neuroscience?
Yeah, there was a point where I was gonna be a neuroscience minor, and then I wanted to focus on music.
That is very interesting.
I just wanted to try everything, and I was at UCLA, then one of the number one public universities. They have such amazing professors.
Yeah,
I was like, I gotta take this opportunity. I took music entertainment classes. It was so awesome, and that's the main reason why I chose UCLA. Was everyone there is going after it.
Yeah.
Every day that I walked on campus, everyone had a drive to them.
Yeah.
And everyone was curious and wanting to learn about other subjects too, I felt. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, that seems like it was a really heavy workload. But
it was.
Yeah. I bet you were doing a lot of night studying.
Yep. And a lot of caffeine.
We were talking about it before camera. I was
Don't help me.
Nah, I think we got to talk about this a little bit. She said she drinks 3 espressos a day plus 2 Celsius. How does your stomach feel?
I love caffeine.
Do you sleep well at night?
I do.
Okay. I
make sure to not have the caffeine 2 hours before I sleep.
I mean,
or so.
I could be wrong,
unless I'm at the studio really late and then I have to pound the Celsius.
I could see that. I could be wrong, but something look this up. I'm pretty sure caffeine has a half-life of 8 hours or something. So
yes.
Okay. No, that's for each their own. That is quite interesting though. Okay, moving back to UCLA.
From caffeine to UCLA. Let's get into it.
I mean, they kind of coexist in a way, I would say.
Honestly, yeah. I like that segue.
Yeah. So you're at UCLA. How was that first experience for you? Moving from Massachusetts to UCLA, going from a comfort zone out of your comfort zone, expanding to this really big city full of opportunities, and the college full of opportunities as well. How did that feel with first arriving on campus?
I will literally never forget the day that my dad dropped me off, because it was the first time I had also ever been to California, was when he was dropping me off. I had never seen UCLA really.
Wow.
I saw it actually. Well, we went to Accepted Students Day before, and I got to see a little bit of the campus, but we really just saw the campus and then went back home.
Got you.
And I'll never forget when he dropped me off. I was like, all right, bye. I was excited.
Yeah.
And then I just remember standing there in the middle of Wilson Plaza and looking around and being like, I have absolutely no idea where I am. I don't geographically, I don't know what's nearby.
Yeah.
I didn't know my surroundings.
Yeah.
So I freaked out a little bit. And usually I'm pretty chill with that kind of stuff. I can really adapt and get excited. But I was definitely a little, nervous at first. But I had amazing roommates and they made everything a lot easier. And my program was really small. So it allowed me to,
make friends quickly.
Make some friends quickly. And it soon felt like home. And everyone at UCLA was awesome, and I'm really thankful for that. So it was nerve-wracking at first, as is any new change, but it was exciting after.
That's awesome. And then, so over the years, what was the biggest thing you noticed from taking, where you were at that one point, standing in Wilson Plaza, to 4 years later graduating? Which, congratulations, you just graduated, right? That's huge.
Go Bruins.
Go Bruins, yeah. What was the biggest changes you probably noticed in yourself as a person? Not as a academic or something that, you work on, something as a person. How did you change as a person from stepping on that plaza day one to graduating?
That's a really good question. I'm not even sure I've asked myself that yet. I would say the contrast when leaving was that I had more of a like internal self knowingness and confidence about who I was rather than like who I was externally projecting. Because there's a difference between like who you project yourself as and who you are. And I think that all the nights of studying and all the rejection that you face and whatnot that I faced while I was in college and going through the music industry and whatnot.
Don't even mention it. Just like
It's just cut into it. Yeah.
Like, what happened? Alright, and rolling.
Okay. All right. So you've been doing music for a while.
Yes.
I saw.
The caffeine is
Okay. Okay. Hold on. This is good. Keep doing it. Yeah, keep doing it. You've been doing music for a while. I've seen you've been doing modeling and acting now. How has that been? And how did you get into that?
Yeah, I love...
Now you're doing the British accent.
Oh. I can talk in a British accent for this. You want me to?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm just kidding. I'll stop it now. The acting part, I went to school for musical theater, and they put us in so many acting classes. And that was my first time really, putting my foot in the water with acting. And it's something that I'm not as comfortable with, per se, like in comparison to music, but it's something that I really enjoy and I really love and I'm eager to learn so much more about. My roommate, one of my best friends, she was an acting major and she's such an amazing actress. And so whenever I've had to film self-tapes and whatnot for film auditions here in LA, she'll sit down with me and go through the lines with me. And I had really cool and amazing professors at UCLA who taught me a lot of different ways to go about approaching a script, and I was in different musicals and whatnot, and that really helped me. So now I'm really like encouraged to continue to act. I think I love everything in the arts.
Yeah,
I really do. So like acting, dancing, singing, I love it all, and modeling.
No, you definitely could do it all.
Oh, thank you.
What is like something that you've noticed? Because you started posting more on Instagram. I saw about that. Are you like signed to like an agency for that, or are you just kind of like getting picked up here and there for that? What's like?
I'm in the process.
You're in the process.
Yes.
Okay, we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. Stemming from that, what other hobbies does Izzy like to do besides the arts? Is there anything else that you do in your downtime besides music? I know you probably don't have a lot of time, but music.
No, that's all I do.
That's all you do?
Honestly, like I write all day. Like when I'm not teaching, because I teach violin and piano and singing, and I have really cool students. When I'm not teaching or writing, I love to paint. You could say my paintings are like abstract. They're not amazing. My parents are like incredible painters. And I like to cook.
Okay.
Tofu and bok choy and
Are you
vegetables.
vegetarian?
I'm vegan.
Vegan?
Like everyone knows, I feel like.
Did you adapt it to the vegan lifestyle?
Yeah.
Or were you always vegan?
I tapped in.
Yeah?
I was always vegetarian, basically, for the most part. And then I just went vegan over time. And then I love to hang out with my friends and surround myself with really driven people, which I have. And it's such a supportive environment. And I feel really grateful to have that around me. So love to hang out with the girls, cook, run.
Nice. Well, where are you at right now? Are you staying in like close by West Hollywood, or are you more like?
Yeah, close by West Hollywood.
Okay, nice.
Left to Westwood though, yeah.
Okay, nice. What is one of the biggest things that you kind of taken away from those hobbies? I tell people ask people this question solely because most people's lives are dedicated to like what they do or like what they work on. But I find a lot of people find themselves epiphanies in a way, or something that like newfound things that they love from the hobbies that they do. Would you say like cooking or hanging out with your friends or painting gives you some sort of release that music or art couldn't, in a way?
I think so. I think the important thing is that it's a balance, and the balance has to be like foreseen, in the sense that if I'm making music all the time, but I'm not balancing it with all those other hobbies, it can be a little isolating.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I love about, hanging out with like my best friends is that they all have different opinions and different things that they're doing and different beliefs. And I honestly could just sit there and listen for hours, because I feel like I learned something and I gained something from that, and I gained like different perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And then that is something that I go and take into my music.
Okay.
Subconsciously.
Yeah.
But I think it's a balance. Like, I do need to be doing those other things. I do need to have friends who are not in the arts.
Yeah.
To have that balance, or else, like I said, I do think it could get isolating.
That is very important. That's actually a very great answer, because I think a lot of people would either say, no, this is what I do and this is what I'm going to do. But I do find a lot of people that find that balance end up being a little bit more successful in a way where they can kind of release and then come back. It's kind of like when you write an essay,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go back, and like if you just keep writing it, you're not going to find the mistakes, but if you come back to it, it's like you'll find the mistakes in a way.
Exactly. And it's like you could have, an 8-hour studio day and then rehearsals. And when you come home, honestly, like, I'm probably not going to be so eager to sing. I'm probably just going to want to like chill out a bit.
Yeah.
And that's a moment where, I will take some time for myself, and whether it's like do yoga or
Mm-hmm.
talk to my friends or cook.
Yeah.
That's a good time for that, I've realized.
Because you said you do it a lot. How do you keep your voice like in check? I mean, does it get like stressful? I'm sure like obviously there's a lot of strain on it. Like, how do you keep yourself going?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Trial and error, because freshman year of college, when I was shooting a music video, I didn't realize that like you weren't supposed to full out sing necessarily during the video.
Mm-hmm.
You can like not lip sync, but just not sing 100%.
Yeah.
And I sang 100% the whole day, and I ended up like having like a vocal hemorrhage.
Oh shit.
A bit, like, because there was so much friction against my vocal folds.
Can you just quickly, sorry to segue, go into what is a vocal hemorrhage for
Yeah,
people
so
that don't
it's
know?
kind of like, if I had to describe it, it's like bruising
Mm-hmm.
on your vocal fold, and basically the vocal folds look like this, right? And so the louder you sing, the more pressure you apply, the vocal folds like smack together.
Mm.
And I was doing that so much at such a high intensity that they were like hitting each other so hard that, one got bruised. It wasn't super severe or anything. I went to an ENT who was amazing, Dr. Johns, and he helped me so much. And then I got super into vocal health, so it was a good thing in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of what I love to teach about, because vocal health is really important, especially when you're doing long days like this. So how to keep myself healthy: sleep, obviously, like the normal human functions. Sleep, water. I should definitely drink more water. I drink way too much caffeine.
Yeah.
Sleep, water, like humidifying your voice, like just like sitting in the bathroom with like the shower on, moisture.
Like hot water and steam.
And knowing when to minimize the amount of pressure and usage that you have to. Like, if you're tracking vocals for like a demo, I wouldn't say that like I would go 200% on that, even though I would want to, just because I know like, okay, I have 5 more hours to go. I need to fraction my vocal usage right now, because your voice is a muscle. It can get really fatigued. And what I like to tell people, and what one of my vocal teachers from home said, was the vocal cords are like a muscle. They are a muscle.
Yeah.
So it's like when you walk into the gym, if you haven't been training and you just pick up 500-pound weights,
Yeah.
you're gonna be like, whoa, and it's gonna really like hurt you.
Yeah.
So if you have taken a week off or whatnot, or you haven't been taking care of your voice, and then you just go like 200% on something, you're not ready. Like, you have to build your way up there and exercise your muscle.
Yeah.
So I exercise my voice every day, and there's different ways to do that. There's a thing called straw and water, where you take the straw, you put in water, and you like blow bubbles to apply pressure on
Oh,
your
so like
vocal
you're
folds.
like, okay, got you.
Yeah, and just vocal warm-ups, and knowing how much usage to give when you should. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. That's a really good analogy. I was going to kind of put it that way too, is like, in a way, you're kind of like an athlete.
Yeah.
You know, because you have to train.
Vocalists are crazy athletes.
Yeah. You got to train. You have to also do proper recovery.
Mm-hmm.
You have to properly rest and hydrate, nutrition. I'm guessing that all plays a really big part into it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, that one time you got that voice hemorrhage. So from that, what are a few like techniques that you said, like the straw in the water, but what are some like other techniques that you would use?
Definitely the straw in water.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, just knowing like how much of my breath to fraction or how much pressure I should use on a certain day given the circumstance. Something that I really love to do if I'm preparing for a long studio session or a rehearsal where there's dancing involved or a music video is it's kind of funny. So if you ever see me doing this, LOL, but I'd take like a quarter filled water bottle. I'll put a straw in it and I'll sing in the straw as I'm like going on a run.
Interesting.
Because it helps with your stamina and your breath support. Someone described it to me as, you know how athletes who are runners will train at high altitude, so when they come down to base level, it's
easier.
Yeah. It's kind of like that, but for singers.
Wow.
So then after you stop running and you've prep like that, then once you like...
That is interesting. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so if you see me running around with a straw of water...
Yeah, you know why.
That's why.
Awesome. So you recently performed at UCLA, right?
Mm-hmm.
What was that for and how was that?
Yeah, that was for a cool event that they do called Spring Sing through the Alumni Association, and it was a great memory. It was a great feeling. I had the best time ever, and preparing for it taught me a lot about myself. And I feel like I had never, at that point, that's one of the songs that I had been saving for myself for like half a year at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to finally start singing the music that I've been writing was like a little preview of what I'm going to be performing.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got on that stage, I felt so excited to sing something that was really authentic to me.
How many songs did you perform? Just one?
I just performed that one. Everyone performs like one original song, and everyone's act was actually so incredible, and it was such a fun event to see the different styles that everyone was doing. It was really cool. Yeah,
I saw a bunch of pictures online. It looked really, really well put on.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was so fun, and it was such a great way to end my college experience. Like that was the best memory I could have.
Pull it out.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, we are gonna be wrapping up here pretty soon, but I want to thank you so much for coming on. If you want to talk to the camera really quickly, tell people where they can find you, your Instagram at, and then also if there's anything they should be looking for upcoming soon.
Yes, thank you for having me. You can find me on all social media at Izzy.Escobar, and I'm excited for you all to hear my new music, and I hope you like it.
All right, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll be putting all of Izzy's links down in the description, so go check her out. She's awesome and amazing, and we will definitely be having her on again soon.
Thanks.
We're going to need to when she releases her music. But yeah, thank you guys. I'll see you.